In this OBS Studio tutorial, I'm gonna show you how to make your live streams look awesome, and we're starting right now. What is going on? My name is Nick. Welcome to another video. If this is your first time here and you want to learn how to grow your channel, make videos, and all types of other YouTube related stuff, start now by subscribing and clicking the bell so you don't miss anything. You're gonna love this. I'm not gonna waste any time. Let's go to the computer. Okay, so now that we're at the computer, I'm going to show you how to take a boring looking scene like this and make it into something like this where you can have chat on it, to where you can do like video transitions and things like that. You can also do it to where you add tickers, to where you have like a little sidebar to where you're doing like a split screen, and you can transfer everything back and forth. Super easy, and it can be cool with the transitions as well. Of course, you wouldn't want to use transitions as heavy as I just did, but I'm just showing you the example of what it is that I'm going to be showing you. So the first thing that we need to do in order to get all of this stuff rolling is we need to go up to the scene selection or scene collection and select new, and that's going to blank everything out. As soon as I do this, it's going to remove my webcam, so I'm going to add that in as well and show you how to do that also. So for this, I'm just going to call this TB demo.
Introducing OneStream. Easy live streaming anytime, any place using pre-recorded videos. We guarantee high quality streaming without buffering or downtime. Simply pre-record your video.
And as you can see, it took away my webcam, so I'm going to go ahead and add that by adding a capture device. And I'm just going to call that webcam. And that will get us taken care of there. Now, as you can see, when it first came on, it's really zoomed in and blown up. And on yours, if you see it and it comes in like this, all you have to do to fix that is you just change the resolution down here to custom, and then you change it to the actual frame size that you're going to be going out at. In my case, it's 1920 by 1080, and then I hit OK, and then as you can see, it brings everything, you know, to the normal ratio. So once I have that in place, this is going to be my blank starting point. So once I have that in place, I'm going to go down to my scenes down here in the bottom left-hand side of the screen, and I'm going to choose rename. And then for this one, I'm just going to change this to main plane. And then that tells me anytime I click on this, anytime I transition to this, no matter what, it's just going to be a plain thing that's happening, just me right here on the screen. So the next thing that I want to do is I want to build onto this. So I'm going to duplicate it here. I'm going to right click on main plane and I'm going to hit duplicate. And then I'm going to do main with a ticker. And then what that gives me the ability to do is add additional sources over here. So I have one scene here that nothing else is going to be on. And then this one here is going to be all of the ticker graphics to make the actual ticker that goes along the bottom of the screen. So here I'm going to click plus. I'm going to go to image. I'm going to do ticker BG for ticker background. And when I do that, it's going to ask me where the file is. So here I'm going to click on ticker BG, hit OK. And then there you can see this graphic that is now showing up at the bottom of my screen. Now, how this is going to work is it's going to be this graphic, and then I'm going to have a layer of text. And then after that layer of text, then I'm going to have a covering graphic as well. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to hit plus, and then I'm going to add that covering graphic right now. So I'm going to do ticker top. And I'm going to grab this. Now, as you can see right here, when I pull this in, if you look at this little area right here, you can see it's transparent. Okay, so basically what's happening here is this is going to allow the text to show up, to appear behind this, and then disappear into this side as well while keeping the TubeBuddy logo in there. So I'm going to hit OK. Now with this, just so you know what's going on, is all of this stuff that I'm showing you right now, I actually built this for TubeBuddy for the stream that I do there. So if you want to learn even more YouTube stuff, I'm going to put a link to the TubeBuddy channel, so you can definitely head over to them, because me and other YouTube experts are over there, you know, sharing information to help you grow your channels as well. So the next thing that we want to do is I'm going to actually click on the little lock icon for all three of these. And the reason I'm doing that is because I'm going to have to move the text around once I get it in here. So if I have these locked, then I can click anywhere on the screen, move anything that I want, and nothing is going to be selected or moved. So it's just kind of like a fail-safe. Click on plus, and then I'm going to go to text. And then here, I'm just going to make sure that says text. And then here, I'm going to put in just anything for the sake of the demo. And then once I have what it is that I'm going to be saying in the text, you can see it right up here at the top. You can see it's kind of small, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into select font, and in this case, I'm actually going to find the font that I was using. This is a really cool thing about OBS, is it lets you select different fonts, so you can make sure that, you know, things are matching up with your branding and all of that. So I'm going to select a different font, I'm going to hit OK, and then I'm going to click OK on this as well. Once I have that in place, then I can grab the text and I can bring it down. Now, as you can see, it's really small right now, so on a mobile device, this would be pretty much impossible to read. So I'm going to grab one of these corners, and I'm just going to start moving it, and as you can see, that's going to scale that text up and make it a little bit bigger and a little bit easier to read. From there, I'm going to just bring it down the screen. And then because I have this selected, I can just tap on the arrow buttons to kind of fine tune it as far as getting it into the right place that I want it to be. And then as you can see over here in the sources section, this is at the very top, and it's covering up the TubeBuddy logo, and it's just not very flattering right now. So in order to fix that, what I have to do is I have to take the text and I have to bump it down a notch. And then now I've got that nice looking fade going in and out. So my text comes in, fades back out, the logo's still there, and everything still looks nice, neat, and clean. So what I'm going to do now is I need to make that text move. So I'm going to right click, and I'm going to go to filters. Here I'm going to click on the plus sign, and then I'm going to click on scroll. And then here, I want to show you this real quick. Let me move this over to here. So when I move this horizontal speed, you can see the text is going to start to move. Now, I can make it really fast to where, people are reading it really fast and all that, or I can slow it down, make it something a little bit more reasonable. In this case, I'm going to go with like a 31. That's fine. So it's still coming along. It's still moving along, but it's not so much that it's ridiculously distracting. So once I have that speed, I'm going to hit close. And then as you can see, the ticker is going to be flowing along there nicely during any time that I want that to show. So now we have two scenes. We have the main plane, and then we have the main ticker, okay? So the next thing that we want to do is we're going to duplicate that main plane again, and I'm going to call this one cam with chat, okay? Now with this one, we're going to do that same exact thing where I'm going to go to the plus, and I'm going to add an image here, and this is going to be... I'm just going to call this one background because there's not a lot that's going to be happening in this scene. So I'm going to find that, and then I'm going to bring it in. Now, as you can see right here, the area that I have right here, it's already taken away. So I saved this image here out of Photoshop as a transparent PNG. Okay, so basically I removed the background layer so that I could save it so I'd be able to see through this. Now, another option that I would have had was to make the same graphic, but actually put a square on the screen in this area and then grab my picture or my video image there and scale it down and try to fine tune it to make sure that everything is in the right place and the right size. But what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to lock this background so I'm not clicking on it. I'm going to click on the webcam, and then now you can see when I move this, because I have that area transparent, it doesn't have to be perfect. I can just move it in, kind of scoot it into place, and then fine-tune it a little bit with my arrow keys, and then there we go. I don't have to spend a ton of time sitting there trying to make everything match up. And in addition to that, I also get a little bit of a drop shadow over here to kind of give it a little bit of an additional look, so to speak. Now, the next thing that we want to do is something that I get asked about a ton, and that is showing the chat on the screen, because we have to put it in this little area over here so that viewers can see the live chat for this particular scene when we show this. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to bring my live streaming page over, and I'm going to show you how to do this. When you go to your live streaming page on YouTube, you click here, and then you click on Pop Out Chat. When you do that, they're going to give you a URL up here at the top. You want to copy that, and then you can close it. And then after you close that, you can actually just move that right out of the way or close the window, because we have to put it in this little area over here so that viewers can see the live chat for this particular scene when we show this. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to bring my live streaming page over, and I'm going to show you how to do this. When you go to your live streaming page on YouTube, you click here, and then you click on Pop Out Chat. When you do that, they're going to give you a URL up here at the top. You want to copy that, and then you can close it. And then after you close that, you can actually just move that right out of the way or close the window or whatever, and it's okay because you have that URL. That's all that you need. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go down to plus in my scenes, or in my sources, actually. I'm going to go down to plus. I'm going to choose browser source. Here I'm going to make this chat as the identifier. And then you can see here there's already a URL here going to OBS project, but I'm going to override that with my YouTube chat, okay? That URL that I just got. Now, because I've already built this for, the thing that I'm doing with TubeBuddy, so I've already built this, I already know that the width of this is going to be way too big. So I'm going to take the width of this down to 520, and I'm going to take the height to, let's say, let's do 890, okay? From there, I'm going to hit OK, and then you'll see the chat is now popping up on the screen. I just grab that, and I bring it over here and get it into place, okay? I could leave it like this, and it would be perfectly okay. I mean, if it just looks like this and you have the white on there, it's fine. But if you look at this from a design standpoint, I have all of these dark elements. I'm wanting people to focus on the TubeBuddy logo, down there, which by the way, if you don't have TubeBuddy installed yet, I've got a link to that in the description. But I want to draw people's attention to the TubeBuddy logo, and I want them looking at my screen. I want them looking at the chat as well, but I don't want them to be overwhelmed and distracted by what's going on in the chat. So what I have to do for that is I have to put in a CSS code, which I have in a notepad here, and I'll actually put this as a resource link down in the description below. But I have a some CSS code that I'm going to drop into this chat option right here. So I'm going to right-click on chat. I'm going to hit properties, and I'm going to delete this in the CSS area right here, and then I'm going to paste in all of this code right here. And again, I'm going to have a resource link to this down in the description, so you'll be able to get this same exact code down in that description if you want this. And then I'm going to hit OK. And then you'll see that it made my text bigger, and it also took away that background. So now it's not as distracting. It's still distracting, especially when it's all moving around, but it's not as distracting. So here, and I'll actually put this as a resource link down in the description below, but I have a some CSS code that I'm going to drop into this chat option right here. So I'm going to right click on chat. I'm going to hit properties, and I'm going to delete this in the CSS area right here. And then I'm going to paste in all of this code right here. And again, I'm going to have a resource link to this down in the description, so you'll be able to get this same exact code down in that description if you want this. And then I'm going to hit OK, and then you'll see that it made my text bigger, and it also took away that background. So now it's not as distracting. It's still distracting, especially when it's all moving around, but it's not as distracting. So what we've done there is now we have this chat area so that people that are watching can see their chat come up on the screen, right? So I'm just going to click on something there, and then that fills that box out, and you can see right there, as you can see, can you see this that I put down there? It completely fills that box out and makes everything look nice and clear. Now, to be picky, I would want to scoot this down here just a tad, because that's a little bit too tight up there at the top for me. So I would bring it down to something like that, maybe bring up the bottom a little bit, but you can fine tune yours when you're making your graphics for your live stream. So now we have 3 chats. Now we have 3 scenes, in here. We have the main plane, we have the main ticker, and then we also have this, which is our cam with chat. So we're starting to create, a nice production here, right? Like, this is looking really professional. It's looking great. Everything is nice and organized, real easy to follow what's going on. And a really awesome thing about this is down here in the sources part, you don't have just a humongous pile of stuff down there, right? You can just switch it as you need it instead of having a bunch of things that you have to sort through in order to make these same things happen. And you don't have to drag things around all the time and resize the frame and all of that. So this makes it so much easier. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the main plane again. And this one is going to be split screen. Now, this comes in really cool if you are a gamer or if you are a business owner and you want to have your screen, and then you also want to have something happening on the side over here to where you can have like your social media information, or you can have like a product that you're talking about, or you can have bullet points of what it is that you're talking about while keeping yourself on the screen. This part is really cool. So what I'm going to do here is I created that split screen scene. And as you can see in the sources here, the only thing, again, that we're starting with is just the webcam by itself. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go and I'm going to grab the image that I made.
Whatever I see that she has achieved in the last year or so would have been very difficult had that.
And then with this, you can see I'm kind of, covered up there or whatever, but the graphic over here is where you would put, there we go, is where you would put the, any additional information that you have. But what you would do in this case with the webcam is I'm going to lock that. And then with the webcam, I can just take this, drag it over, just like this. And then there we go, I'm nice and centered. So let's say that I'm talking here in the main plane, and then I want to say something about, whatever it is that I'm talking about, then I would click on this, and you can set this up. You can set up a bunch of these so you can just rotate through them as you're talking about things, or when you want to, you can go to the cam chat and things like that. So now that we have this in place, I want to level this whole thing up to really make it pro. I'm sure you've seen the news where, they're talking about something and then they transition into something else, and then they have like a logo or some type of graphic that comes up on the screen to actually make that transition to happen and make it kind of smooth and pro looking. Well, that's what we're going to do. So what we're going to do for that is I'm going to click on studio mode over here, and that's going to split the screen. So if you're not familiar with OBS right now, if you're not familiar with OBS yet, basically how this works is over on this side of the screen, the one that has the ticker on it right now, this side of the screen is basically a staging area. And then the other side of the screen where we have the split screen, that is actually what would be live that your viewers would be seeing right now. So if you're recording something in OBS or if you're actually streaming in OBS, the one over on the right where the split screen is right now, that is your actual live area. That's what's actually being streamed or recorded. And over on your left, that is your staging area where you actually build everything and you get it ready to go over. So what we're going to do here is we're going to add that transition so that we can really make this look cool. So here I'm going to go over to the scene transitions. I'm going to hit plus, and then I'm going to select Stinger. Now here I'm going to do icon transition. I'm going to hit OK. Then it's going to give me the option to go find it, and I'm going to go find it. It's called the TB icon transition. TB stands for tube buddy. And then for these other options, I'm going to leave these on the default, but if you are wanting to hear the transition, if you have audio in yours like I do with mine, and you're wanting to actually hear that transition, what you would do is you would just click on this, and then you would go down to monitor only with mute output. Okay, and then as you're playing it, if you're doing your stream, you have headphones in, and you want to be a part of the show in terms of listening to what's going on, then that gives you the ability to do it. So I'm going to hit OK. Now this is where this gets cool. I'm going to go up here to the quick transition. I'm going to hit the plus sign, and I'm going to hit icon transition, and then now that icon transition's in there. So how this works? Let's say that I want to transition from this split screen over here to the ticker version that's over here, then I can click on this icon transition, and then it does that for me while still keeping everything looking cool for the viewers. So basically, instead of making it a hard cut like this every time that I do the transition or a fade, then I can hit that icon transition and actually take it to a different segment. So that's really cool, where you can say, okay, well, I want to use this to transition me in between segments. You can set up different graphics that you change, for each thing in between each different segment that you're trying to produce. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to take this up another notch, and we're going to add another option here to slide. And I'm just going to call this one down. You can do up, down, left, or right. And then here I'm just going to make this down. And you can also add these up here as well to the quick transitions. Any quick transitions that you want, you could add them up here. This is especially handy for graphics. But now if I want to transition in between something, I can just for the viewers. So basically, instead of making it a hard cut like this every time that I do the transition or a fade, then I can hit that icon transition and actually take it to a different segment. So that's really cool, where you can say, okay, well, I want to use the ticker version that's over here, then I can click on this icon transition, and then it does that for me while still keeping everything looking cool for the viewers. So basically, instead of making it a hard cut like this every time that I do the transition or a fade, then I can hit that icon transition and actually take it to a different segment. So that's really cool, where you can say, okay, well, I want to use this to transition me in between segments. You can set up different graphics that you change, for each thing in between each different segment that you're trying to produce. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to take this up another notch, and we're going to add another option here to slide. And I'm just going to call this one down. You can do up, down, left, or right. And then here I'm just going to make this down. And you can also add these up here as well to the quick transitions. Any quick transitions that you want, you could add them up here. This is especially handy for graphics. But now if I want to transition in between something, I can just hit down like that, and then it will take me into anything it is that I'm wanting it to take me into. But if you really want to do this in like a really cool way, what you can do is I'm going to go into my settings here. I'm going to show you something. Under the General tab, if I scroll down, you're going to see this option right here for studio mode, transition to scene when double clicked. Okay.
മരിക്കാൻ അനുവദിക്കാത്ത നാട്.
മാത്യൂസ് എവിടെ?
ഇവനത് എവിടെ പോയി കിടക്കോ? നീ അവനെ വിളിച്ചേ.
ഞാൻ വിളിച്ചിട്ടുണ്ടായിരുന്നു, അവന്റെ ഫോണ് ബിസിയാ.
ചേട്ടാ എവിടെ ഈ പഴയ സാധനം കിട്ടണ നല്ല ആന്റിക് ഷോപ്പ് ഏതാണ്?
നല്ല കടയാണ് മേളി.
അത് തുറന്നിട്ടില്ലല്ലോ.
അല്ല സാർ, നമ്മുടെ സ്റ്റാഫ് കീ ആയിട്ട് വന്നോണ്ടിരിക്കും. 5 മിനിറ്റ് ഇപ്പൊ തുറക്കും. സാർ എന്താ സാർ വേണ്ടത്?
വാസ്കോ ഡ ഗാമ ആദ്യമായി കൊച്ചി കാലു കുത്തിയപ്പോ മൂക്കിയേറ്റിയ കറച്ചി.
ചരിത്ര പ്രധാനമുള്ള പഴശ്ശാല സിനിമ മമ്മൂട്ടി ഉപയോഗിച്ച വാളല്ല, ചീപ്പ്.
പോർച്ചുഗീസ് അരകല്ല്,
ആഫ്രിക്കൻ ആമടപ്പെട്ടി,
ബ്രിട്ടീഷ് മുറുക്കാഞ്ചെല്ലം,
വിളക്കുകൾ, സ്റ്റാൻഡുകൾ,
മണ്ണെണ്ണ വിളക്ക്, മണ്ണെണ്ണ സ്റ്റൗ, ഗ്യാസ് സ്റ്റൗ, കേരളത്തിലെ ആദ്യത്തെ പ്രഷർ കുക്കർ,
പഴയ നാണയങ്ങൾ, ലോട്ടറി ടിക്കറ്റ്, അങ്ങനെ കൊച്ചി റെസ്റ്റ് എല്ലാം നമ്മുടെ കടയിലുണ്ട് സാറേ. സാർ എന്താ വേണ്ടത്?
എനിക്കൊന്നും വേണ്ട, വെറുതെ കാണാലോ. ഇത്ര നേട്ടം തുറന്നില്ലേ, നിങ്ങൾ എങ്ങനെ ഗതി പിടിക്കാനാണ്?
ഗതിയൊക്കെ നമ്മൾ പിടിപ്പിച്ചോളാം കേട്ടോ.
പോയിക്കോളെ സാർ ഇപ്പൊ ചെല്ലി കേട്ടോടാ. അയ്യ അവൻ്റെ ഇളി കണ്ടില്ലേ? വീട്ടിൽ കാണാൻ കുത്തിയിരിക്കാനുള്ളതിനെ കുറ്റിയം പറഞ്ഞോണ്ട് വരും മാസ്കും വെച്ചോണ്ട്.
അയാള് പറഞ്ഞാലും കാര്യമുണ്ട്. നേരത്തെ കാലത്ത് കട തുറക്കണം, അതേ ഗതി പിടിക്കാത്ത.
ആണോ? അതിന് നേരത്തും കാലത്തും വരുന്ന പണിക്കാരനെ വെക്കണം. നീ അല്ല അവനെ പണിക്ക് വെച്ചത്. അവനെ കണ്ടപ്പോഴേ ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞ
എടാ, 3-4 ഫോറിൻ ലാംഗ്വേജ് അറിയേണ്ട ഈ പൈസക്ക് വേറെ എവിടെയും പണിക്ക് കിട്ടുമോ? അതുകൊണ്ടല്ലേ സഹിക്കണേ.
സഹിച്ചോ? ആ ദേ വരുന്ന നൗഷാദ് വാവ.
അതെ, ഞാൻ വിളിക്കാട്ടാ. എന്റെ DJ ബുക്ക് ചെയ്യണമെന്നുണ്ട്. 2 പിള്ളേര് ഇവിടെ വന്നിട്ടുണ്ട് കേട്ടാ. ഓക്കെ ബൈ. എന്താണ് ഇക്ക നേരത്തെ വന്നാ?
ആരായിരുന്നു ഫോണി?
അവനാ എന്റെ ചിക്കായിട്ട് സംസാരിക്കണായിരുന്നു. എന്തേ?
അടുത്ത പോലീസ് കേസ് ഒപ്പിക്കാനുള്ള പരിപാടിയാണ്. മിക്കവാറും ഉടനെ ഇവിടെ പോലീസ് വരും.
നിന്റെ കരുനാക്ക് കളിച്ച് പറയാ, കട തുറക്കാൻ പോണുള്ളൂ.
ഏക്കാ സംഭവം ശരിയാണ്. ഞാൻ നിങ്ങളുടെ സ്റ്റാഫൊക്കെയാണ് എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ എന്റെ പേഴ്സണൽ കാര്യത്തിലൊക്കെ ഇടപെടണമെന്ന് കബൂറാവും. എനിക്കത് ഇഷ്ടമല്ല.
ശരി, പ്രൊഫഷണൽ ആയിട്ടൊരു കാര്യം ചോദിക്കട്ടെ. ഇപ്പൊ സമയം എത്രയായി?
സമയം വാച്ച് ചോദിക്കാൻ ഓടൂല.
ഓടിക്കും ഞാൻ. ഇപ്പോഴാണോ കട തുറക്കാൻ വരുന്നത്?
എന്നാ പ്രൊഫഷണൽ ആയിട്ട് ഒരു കാര്യം ഞാൻ അങ്ങോട്ട് ചോദിക്കട്ടെ. എന്റെ 3 മാസം ശമ്പളം തന്നിട്ടില്ലല്ലോ. എന്ത്
സാധനം വിറ്റുപോട്ടെ.
അടുത്ത മാസം ശമ്പളം തന്നില്ല. തൂക്കുകളൊക്കെ ഞാൻ തൂക്കി കൂട്ടാ. റെസ്പോൺസിബിലിറ്റി ആറ്റോസ്.
സബ്ടൈറ്റിൽ ഇട്ടിട്ട് പറയടാ ധൈര്യം ഉണ്ടെങ്കിൽ.
ഞാൻ പറയാ, നീ കയറ്. ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞോളാം. എടാ വാവേ, നിനക്ക് നമ്മുടെ അവസ്ഥ നല്ലോണം അറിയാലോ. കൊറോണ ആയിട്ട് കച്ചവടം എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞ സാധനം ഇവിടെ ഇല്ല. ഒരു മനുഷ്യൻ പോലും ഈ കടയിൽ കയറുന്നില്ല. അപ്പൊ നമ്മള് സമയത്ത് കട കൂടെ തുറന്നിരിക്കുക എന്ത് ചെയ്യണം മോനെ?
അത് തന്നെയാണ് ഞാൻ ചോദിക്കണം. ഒരു മനുഷ്യൻ പോലും ഇങ്ങോട്ട് തിരിഞ്ഞു തരില്ല. പിന്നെ ഞാൻ എന്തിനാ രാവിലെ വന്ന് കടയിൽ തുറന്ന് കുത്തിരിക്കണം?
അല്ലെങ്കിൽ തന്നെ നീ എന്തിനാ ഈ കൊറോണ കുറ്റം പറയുന്നത്? അതിന് മുന്നേ ഇവിടെ കച്ചവടമൊന്നും ഇല്ലായിരുന്നല്ലോ. ഇവന്റെ ഡീലിങ്ങേ ശരിയല്ല. നീ അവന്റെ കോല വന്ന് നോക്ക്. ഈത്ത ഒലിക്കാൻ വേണ്ടി ചാല് വെട്ടി ഒരു താടിയും കണ്ണി കൊള്ളാനുള്ള പിരുത്തുണ്ടെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞൊരു വെട്ടും അവന്റെ ചുമല കണ്ണാടിയും. ഇവനെ ഇവിടെ അല്ലേ നിർത്തണ്ടേ, വല്ല കാളപ്പൂരിനെ കൊണ്ടുപോയി നിർത്തേണ്ടത്. എടാ, ഇതൊരു കലാമൂല്യമുള്ള ഒരു സ്ഥാപനമല്ലേ. ഇവിടെ നിൽക്കുന്നവന് കുറച്ചെങ്കിലും കലാവാസന വേണ്ടേ?
എന്നാ നിങ്ങൾ ഒരു കാര്യം ചെയ്യ്. മറ്റേ പുള്ളിയില്ലേ, രാജാ ഹരിവർമ്മ, പുള്ളിനെ കൊണ്ടുവന്ന് നിർത്താം. 6000 രൂപയ്ക്ക് പണിക്ക്. ഫാഷനെ പറ്റി ഒന്നും അറിയേയില്ല. രാവിലെ എന്നെ ഉടക്കാനുള്ള മൈൻഡാണ്. എന്നെ വിട്ടേക്ക്. പോസിറ്റീവ് വൈബ്സ് ഓൺലി.
രാവിലെ ഉച്ചയായി മേലെ ഈ പൊട്ട വാശൊക്കെ ഇങ്ങോട്ട് വന്നേക്കുന്നു.
ചേട്ടൊന്നും ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നേ. പണി നോക്കിയേ, സമാധാനം എന്താ?
എന്തുവാടാ നീക്ക് ഏത് നേരം ഇടങ്ങാറാണല്ലോ. ഒരു നപ്പ് സാധനം കിട്ടിയിട്ടുണ്ട്.
നിന്റെ നപ്പും ചിപ്സും ഒന്നും ഇവിടെ വേണ്ട. നീ സ്ഥലം കാലിയൊക്കെ ഇറങ്ങ.
താൻ കണ്ടിട്ട് പറവരെ തുടക്കത്തിലെ റോങ് ഇടല്ലേ. ഇത് ഇത്രയും കാലം കൊണ്ടുവന്നൊരു സാധനം ഇത് റേഞ്ച് കൂടിയതാണ്. റേറെ കല്ലാട് മോനെ.
കാണാൻ ഒരു ഭംഗിയൊക്കെ ഉണ്ടല്ലേ?
വലിയ ഭംഗിയൊന്നും ഇല്ല.
അയ്യേ, ഇത് ചെങ്കല്ലാണ്. സോറി, കരിങ്കല്ലാണ്.
ഇത് പിടിച്ചേ. എന്നാ ചെല്ലേ മോൻ ചെന്ന് പൊടി ഉടക്കി. ചെല്ല് പോ 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 പോ.
അവിടെ ഇത് കരിങ്കല്ലും ചെങ്കല്ലും കണ്ടല്ല, ഒരു കായാണ്.
കല്ലാണോ കായാണോ ഇത്?
എടാ അങ്ങനെയല്ല, കല്ല്.
നീ കല്ലുമ്മക്കായാണോ?
നീ എന്താ കാളവണ്ടി ഓടിക്കുന്നു? മര്യാദയ്ക്ക് പണി എടുക്കടാ.
എന്തോ
ഇത് ഉലുക്ക. ഇതിന്റെ പേരാണ് ഉലുക്ക.
ഉലുക്കച്ചക്കയോ ഒന്നും ഇവിടെ വേണ്ട, നീ എടുത്തോണ്ട് പോ.
നിക്ക്, അത് കാണാൻ ഒരു ഭംഗിയൊക്കെ ഉണ്ട്, ചിലപ്പോ വിറ്റു.
ഇതുപോലെ കാണാൻ കൊള്ളാന്ന് പറഞ്ഞ് നീ കൊണ്ടുവന്ന് ട്രാഫിക് പോലീസുകാരൻ അവിടെ ഇരുന്ന് ചതലരിക്കുന്നത്.
മൊറോക്കൻ കർഷകൻ.
എന്താ വേണേലും അത് അവിടെ ഇരുന്നിട്ട് ഒരു പ്രയോജനം ഇല്ലല്ലോ.
പ്രയോജനത്തിനായിരുന്നു നീ പറയണ്ട. ആ സാധനം അതേ ഇരിക്കണ്. അതിവിടെ വാങ്ങിച്ചു വെച്ചാൽ പച്ച പിടിക്കും, ഭയങ്കര ഭാഗ്യം. ഇല്ലാത്ത കാശ് കടം വാങ്ങി വാങ്ങിച്ചു വെച്ചാൽ പച്ചത്തല. അതുകൊണ്ട് ഇവിടെ യാതൊരു പ്രയോജനമില്ല.
അല്ലെങ്കിൽ തന്നെ ഇവിടെ ഇരിക്കണ എന്തുകൊണ്ടാണ് പ്രയോജനമുള്ളത്?
പ്രയോജനം ഇല്ലല്ലോ, നിന്നെ പോലെ ഉപദ്രവം ഇല്ല.
എന്റെ പൊന്നു മാറ്റി ഇവിടെ നോക്ക്, തെങ്ങനെ പോയി 10,000 രൂപ കിട്ടും. എനിക്കൊരു 5 രൂപ നമ്മ സെറ്റാ.
10,000 രൂപയുടെ ഒലക്കെ കട തള്ളി താഴെ ഇടൂ.
എന്റെ വാലി ഞാൻ വില കുത്തി കയറ്റൂട്ടാ. നിങ്ങൾക്ക് വേണമെങ്കിൽ പറഞ്ഞ ഫ്രെഡിയുടെ കണക്കെ കൊണ്ട് കൊടുത്തോളാം.
എന്നാ നീ കൊടുക്ക്.
പൊന്നു മാറ്റി നോക്കി എങ്ങനെ പോയി 10 രൂപ കിട്ടും.
ഉറപ്പാണോ?
ഉറപ്പാണ്.
അങ്ങനെയാണെങ്കിൽ ഈ സാധനം ഇവിടെ ഇരിക്കട്ടെ. ഇത് വിറ്റ് കഴിഞ്ഞ് 10,000 രൂപ കിട്ടിക്കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ നിന്റെ കാശ് ഞങ്ങൾ തരും.
ഞാൻ
അതെന്തൊക്കെ അപൂർവം 5 രൂപയെങ്കിലും എന്താടോ?
5 അല്ലേ? 5 രൂപ. അതെ, നീ കഴിഞ്ഞ 5,000 രൂപ വിറ്റു എന്ന് ഉറപ്പ് പറഞ്ഞ് ഇവിടെ കൊണ്ടുവച്ച സാധനല്ലേ ഇത്? ഇത് എടുത്തോ, എന്നിട്ട് വിറ്റിട്ട് 5,000 എടുത്തോ.
അല്ല, ഇതെവിടെ ഇരിക്കട്ടെ.
അതായിരിക്കും നിനക്ക് നല്ലത്.
ഞാനെന്നാ തെറിക്കണേ, ഞാൻ വിളിക്കാം.
തെറിക്കോ ചീറ്റോ എന്തേലും ചെയ്യും.
കുറച്ച് ഫ്രഷ് സാധനങ്ങൾ വന്നിട്ടുണ്ട്.
കണ്ടിട്ട് ഒരു സൗന്ദര്യമൊക്കെ ഉണ്ടട്ടേക്കാ.
വരവ് വെച്ച് സാറിന്റെ പണിയൊക്കെ കഴിഞ്ഞോ?
ടീ ടൈം.
എന്നാ പോയി 2 ചായ വാങ്ങിച്ചിട്ടോ.
നീ എന്തോരും അടിമകളോട് പെരുമാറുന്ന പോലെ. നീ പോയിട്ട് 3 ചായ പിടിച്ചിട്ടുണ്ടോ? അവനും കുടിച്ചോട്ടെ പാവം.
ഹലോ, ഞാൻ ആദ്യം പോയി ഒരു ചായ കുടിക്കട്ടെ. നിങ്ങൾക്ക് വേണമെങ്കിൽ 2 ചായ പറയാം. നിങ്ങൾ വേണേ വന്ന് കുടിക്ക്. ബിലാഡി ഫൗൾസ്.
ഇവനെ വെക്കണം, ഞാൻ എറിഞ്ഞുമില്ല.
എന്നാ കൊല്ലി.
ഇതെന്തുവാടാ നങ്കുരു? നല്ല വെയിറ്റ് ഉണ്ടല്ലോ.
ആണല്ലേ, കാണാനും കൊള്ളാം. അതാ ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞു, ഇതൊരു അടിപൊളി സാധന. നമുക്ക് ഇത് സക്കറിക്കൊന്നും കൊണ്ട് കാണിച്ചാലോ?
Right.
Nice hose. So one of the classic things to do in slow motion is to do a water balloon full of water, pop in, looks cool.
Yeah.
We've done plenty of that over the years.
I thought that was a pretty small balloon though.
It was. That was actually a balloon only. Surprised when this pops. I know how much you hate water.
Did you hate water?
Yeah. Alright. Yeah? That's full enough. This is gonna suck. Ready?
Go on.
Ready? Yeah. Do you want me to shoot it? It took all my weight. This has got to make it go. If I keep doing this. This calls for slightly more desperate measures. Slightly concerned about this.
I do not think this is a good idea at all.
Get back in the tree. Jump out. Who are you? I'm George. Yeah, well, what are you to me? I'm your brother. Right, should we jump on this massive balloon? Yeah,
Con el estreno de la película Bumblebee en el mes de diciembre del año 2018, fanáticos de estos personajes ficticios creen que estos seres pueden existir entre nosotros. Es
Dots. Gross. I don't want to go back to school. They're going to make fun of me, and then the lice would fly and jump out to my friends' heads.
It's okay. It's not that bad. It can happen to anyone. Besides, lice don't jump or fly. They spread if you let someone borrow a brush, a towel, or your hat.
Joey! You gave me lice when I let him borrow my hat. Gross. He probably doesn't shower, and that's why he gave me these bugs.
Joe, you can get lice even if you shower. Go tell Chewy what he has to do to get rid of them while I clean all of your things with very hot water to kill all of the lice. If you have any problems, please consult your doctor.
Well, here we are, Wilbur. You feeling okay? That was a little palsy welzy. Are you all set? All right, do your stuff. Here, fishy, 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 fishy. Come and get it. Atta boy, Wilbur. Lee, bring me back a big fat one, Wilbur. gosh! What'll I do? Speak to me. Speak to me, Wilbur. Here, Wilbur, take a whiff of this. You better watch your step, Wilbur. They're getting wise to you.
In this OBS Studio tutorial,
Hello my YouTube friends, today I'm going to tell you how to add a guest in OBS for your live streams. It's probably the most asked question I ever get, so let's get to it. If you want more tools, tips, and tricks that can help make you a better YouTuber, subscribe to the channel and click that bell so you know when we have new content that comes out. The first thing I want to show you how to do is create an overlay for your live guests in OBS. And I'm going to show you how to create the overlay in PixlrX. PixlrX is a free image manipulation software that anyone can use right from their browser. The link is in the description if you want to check it out. Once you're into PixlrX, I just click this Create New. I'm going to select 1920 by 1080 because that's what I stream at. And I can name this whatever I want up here in the Name section. I click Create. Now I'm going to draw a background box. So I select the Shape tool. I want it to be a square. I can change the color to anything I want, but I'm going to leave it white. Then I just drag it across the screen. Then I click these three little dots next to the layer. I'm going to rename it background, and there we go. Now I'm going to click this little plus button, and I'm going to add an empty layer. I'm going to call this layer boxes. And once again in my draw tool, I'm going to select the square, but this time I'm going to uncheck fill. And I'm going to select outline. I'm going to make this outline red by selecting the color. Now I'm just going to drag that box wherever I want it. I'm going to drag a second box for my guest. You know when we have new content that comes. And I'm going to show you how to create the overlay in PixlrX. PixlrX is a free image manipulation software that anyone can use right from their browser. The link is in the description if you want to check it out. Once you're into PixlrX, I just click this Create New. I'm going to select 1920 by 1080 because that's what I stream at. And I can name this whatever I want up here in the Name section. I click Create. Now I'm going to draw a background box. So I select the Shape tool. I want it to be a square. I can change the color to anything I want, but I'm going to leave it white. Then I just drag it across the screen. Then I click these three little dots next to the layer. I'm going to rename it background, and there we go. Now I'm going to click this little plus button, and I'm going to add an empty layer. I'm going to call this layer boxes. And once again in my draw tool, I'm going to select the square, but this time I'm going to uncheck fill. And I'm going to select outline. I'm going to make this outline red by selecting the color. Now I'm just going to drag that box wherever I want it. I'm going to drag a second box for my guest wherever I want it. And if you mess up the size on the right hand side, you can see I can go back in history, remove that box, and just create it until I get the size right. I'm going to move it around and try to make sure everything is centered properly. And now we're all set. I just need to cut out the holes in our background. So I'm going to go to our Cut tool. I'm going to select Shape, and we want a square. I'm going to select Remove. I'm going to make sure the background is selected, and I'm going to drag my cursor to the inside of these boxes. You can see that this removes all of the white from inside the boxes. Now I'm going to select the Text tool, and I'm going to add new text. I'm going to select the font. Then in the text box, I'm just going to type my name. I'm going to change the color of the text to red. Now I'm going to drag my text down below my box. Then under layers, I'm going to click this little plus box. I'm going to select text to create a text layer. Now I'm going to scroll up and change my text. My guest today is going to be Michael T. Panetta from Tech Examined. He's going to help me out with this tutorial here. I'm going to change that text color once again to red, and then I'm just going to drag that text wherever I want it to be. So now we have a basic overlay set up for our live guests. You can set up as many guests as you want in whatever layout you want. Once you're set, you click Save. You want to make sure you have PNG selected so it saves the alpha in there so that you have the background. Name it whatever you want and click Download. When you click Download, it's going to save your file to whatever the default is for your browser. So you should probably check this out if you don't know where it's saving your file. Now that we have our overlay all set up, let's go into OBS and add everything so we're ready to live stream. I'm going to use this tutorial scene I already have set up. I'm going to click the plus next to sources and I'm going to add image. I'm going to call this image guest overlay and click OK. Now I'm going to click browse and go to the location where I saved my overlay. Then I'm going to click choose. You can see that it's all set up right there. I can just click OK and there is my overlay. Pretty awesome. Next, I'm going to add myself to the stream. To do this, I'm going to click the little plus underneath sources and I'm going to go to video capture device. I'm going to name this capture device cam card. Then under devices, I'm going to select my cam link and I'm going to go to high, which selects the highest resolution that my cam link is available to stream at, which is 1920 by 1080. That is actually the size of my stream. Next, I'm going to reorder these layers. I'm going to put the overlay over top of my camera. And now I want to resize my box so I'm all squared in there. You can see that this doesn't really work as well as we would hope. So I'm going to crop this image just a little bit. I'm going to crop the left 400 and the right 400. And I'm going to resize it again and just move it into that box. So now the stream has me in it. I'm going to crop the left 400 as we would hope. So I'm going to crop this image just a little bit. I'm going to crop the left 400 and the right 400. And I'm going to resize it again and just move it into that box. So now the stream has me in it. I need to add my audio. So I click that little plus in the bottom of sources. Then I'm going to select audio input capture. I'm going to name this cam audio and click OK. Then under device, I'm going to drop that down and select my cam link and click OK. Now you can see my cam link audio is listed at the bottom. I can adjust the settings as I see fit. For this example, I'm going to use Skype. You can use any video conferencing device, as you're going to see in a moment. Skype just happens to be free and it's pretty high quality video, so it's pretty easy to use. So connect with your guest via Skype and make sure that your connection is working and you can hear him and he can hear you. Chances are you're going to need a pair of headphones in order to do this because you cannot play your guest's audio over your speakers. It will feed back into your microphone and you're going to have a big loop of audio. It's